these ups and downs.
Yeah.
And
everything's a growth moment too. Like, it's not that like it sounds dumb as shit. You go out probably on a day that you didn't wash. Generally.
And welcome back to another episode of the Convoluted Podcast. It's your host, Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, and today I have a special guest that I reached out to, and he was gracious enough to join us. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, hello. My name's Danfinity. I am a content creator on the internet, and by content, I mean like I make stuff on Twitch, and I make podcasts with Planet Destiny and Side Quest Sunday.
Yes. So I found you, like, I personally found you on Side Quest Sunday because I think I actually talked to you when I joined you for a raid a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. About a month or so back.
Yeah, you are the one person who has gotten me back into Destiny because of that specific raid.
Oh, that's awesome! Cool. That's good to hear. That's fun.
So yeah, I've been because I was, like I mentioned during that little conversation that we had in chat. Anyways, I was listening to your episode with Mega Magwitch.
Yeah.
And then I just started to listen to you, and I used to listen heavily to Planet Destiny back during Destiny 1, and I'm going to say like the first few months of Destiny 2, but then as everyone knows, or at least in the Destiny community, the Destiny 2 kind of flickered out a little bit. So
Vanilla launch was a little rough.
So my podcast listening kind of trickled down too. But I've been more, ever since I've gotten back, I've been listening to you guys a little bit more actively.
Very cool. Well, thank you.
Hey, welcome. You and the rest of the community, you guys provide a lot of great content.
Well, thanks. We try to. We try to make sure that we're like timely and informational and entertaining, and I feel like the PD podcast does that. And yeah, it's been a pretty fun ride. I joined there about like a year ago, and Mega and I actually. So I didn't realize that he and I lived in the same state until. Oh man. It was back in the day. Like somebody suggested that I host him, and I think he was streaming as Husky Raid at the time because it was like toward the tail end of that. And I just saw this dude with a rainbow beard just bouncing, like he was playing Destiny, but in the corner of the screen he was just bouncing up and down. I was like, who is this madman? And found out he lived in Fort Wade and all that good stuff. But yeah, he and I had a little bit of crossover on Planet Destiny, and yeah, it's been pretty good time, pretty fun time.
It's wild when you once you like talk with someone like on an, I would say, an online space, to find out they're only a few miles to a couple hours away.
Yeah, and like that's been amazing recently, especially because like probably about a month ago now. No, less than a month, like 2 weeks.
Time flies by.
Yeah. I would do way too many things. So about a couple weeks ago, we had like an Indiana meetup, and so we had quite a few people like come and hang out. All from Indiana. Like Lulu came and hung out. She's a partnered Twitch streamer, and Hoosier Boy. He's a partnered Hoosier Boy and Nighthawk. They're both partnered Mixer streamers. Just a lot of like the community that hang out on my channel came out if they lived in Indiana. It was a pretty fun night. It was pretty fun overall. Megan and Celia stopped by for a bit.
Cool. So I have a few questions. So
Sure.
So what got you started to become like this online personality?
Well, how do you mean? Do you mean like through podcasting or like through streaming?
Whatever you felt your beginnings were.
So let's go back. Let's go back a few years. Let's go back about 10 years. Let's go back maybe about like 11 years. 11 years? 11 years. Okay. So I used to be in bands for a long, long time. And the band was called Bone Setters, and we recorded 3 albums, two of which were released, and spent a lot. I was pretty much like the social media guy for the band, as well as like manager and a few other things. But like, when we started out, it was just like, oh, you got to get a Facebook page. Oh, you gotta promote your band via Facebook page because that's the only way anybody will see it. And then like Twitter popped up, and all like you have all these like different avenues now. And so it was kind of my job to make sure that we were on top of it, that we were I was an early adopter for all those things. And you learn quickly, like, to have a following, you have to have kind of like a personality. So I tried to inject myself into it as much as I possibly could. When we were making posts and stuff like that. And we were touring around and everything. About 2 years ago, the band kind of fizzled out. And so I was in the middle of, I was about to turn 30, and I loved watching Professor Broman play Destiny. Like, that was like the big voice in streaming. I didn't even know that like streaming was a thing until somebody mentioned it in my former clan. I used to be in a Dad's Destiny clan. And how I came to Destiny was I work at libraries, and the library that I worked at the time checked out video games. And I saw ads for Destiny. It looked cool as hell. So I picked it up. I probably picked it up like a month and a half after it launched. And played by myself for a long frickin' time until The Taken King came out. I reached out to somebody in the tower, which was my go-to. I would always just reach out to people in the tower. I didn't know about LFG sites. I knew about... I didn't know a ton. And I was looking for a group that would understand that sometimes I would need to go on tour. And I joined a Dad's Destiny clan, even though I'm not a dad. Yet. I'm still not a dad. But they kind of took me in with open arms, and one day like they were like, oh yeah, I was watching Professor Broman the other day, and I was like, who the fuck is that? And they were like, oh, it's this guy, like you can watch him play video games. And I was like, well, shit, like I got into listening to podcasts probably like 5 years ago, and I was like, well, I could use something that's a little bit more lively and like something that is about this passion that I have. So started watching him and like fell in love with the overall like aesthetics of his stream. He was generally like positive, and like he was funny as shit sometimes. And it just looked like he was having a fun time. And so I started streaming. I'll be 33 this year, so it'll be 3 years in September. I started streaming in earnest September of 2016, and like just started. I played for. Oh man, I don't even know. I don't even know what game I was playing. It was either like Final Fantasy 15 or Destiny. It was probably like a mixture of the two. And I was living in a house with all my bandmates. And so we somebody had moved out, so there was an extra room that nobody was using. So I appropriated that room, and I purchased the green screen that I have now behind me, and I got a PlayStation camera so that I could be down in the corner, and so that people could see me while I was playing stuff. And that worked for a long time, and like while we lived in that house. And I was just broadcasting from my PlayStation. I didn't have a computer or anything. After like a couple months of doing that, somebody in the Dads of Destiny had said, "Hey, like, Destiny Tracker is looking for people like streamers and stuff and podcasters to be on their channel. Would you be interested? You might want to check that out." So I followed through the link and I applied. I was a huge fan of Duba Plays, and Duba had set up like a thing. He was recording something for a music video of his, and he was he was recording a music video. We all joined up on him in a private match, and I got told that I was going to have an interview in like an hour. So I was like, oh shit, I got an interview with Destiny Tracker today. I might be on their content team. And he's like, oh, cool. That's awesome, man. And so I left the session early, went and did the interview with Jay. That went well. About a month later, Duba got movie of the year or movie of the week on Bungie for that. So I got the movie of the week emblem. That was pretty freaking cool. Everything was looking up like roses around that time. And so I joined up with Destiny Tracker for a long time there. Like, I was probably on the team for about 9 months before I left it. And then, but all throughout that time, like, I'm on the podcast. I was streaming for them. I was streaming for myself. And we were like just slowly building a community. And so September of 2017, I quit. I quit DTR like at the end of the month. I remember it was the end of the month because like I remember when it released, it was like the community was kind of like going apeshit at the time, and they were upset about vanilla. And I mean, I was too, but probably not to the extent that everybody else was. And so I quit the podcast because just like some interpersonal interoffice things there. And decided just to do my own thing. Like, started doing Side Quest Sunday. That was fun. That is fun. It's one of the top 5 things that I've ever made in my career as a creative or artistic person. And shortly, I want to say that was like March or April, I got asked by Moonvald to be on the Planet Destiny team. And I was kind of like apprehensive at the time because I had already done the stream thing for Destiny Tracker and had some like, I had some really good times there, but I also had some like not so good times in regards to like making content for them. So I moved on, and Moon kind of convinced me to give it a try there, and I've been on the Planet Destiny content team for over a year now, on the podcast and editing there. I used to stream on that channel. I'm trying to figure out my schedule right now because it's kind of I got a new job and it kind of threw everything up in the air. So I don't know if there's a spot, if there is a day that I can do it to stream on the channel, but I'm still trying to work everything out. So yeah, that's how I became a personality. I also like started like tweeting like daily affirmational tweets there for a while. I still do it occasionally. But a lot of people seem to follow based on those. Yeah. So that's pretty much that's me. This past 3 years of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, I know how to talk, man.
No, thank you for sharing that. That basically was a wonderful summary of, for anyone who's listening, of where you're at this point and how you got here. That for me, that's a lot. You within just those 3 years, you've gone through a lot to get to this point. And like anything, when you're on this online space, there's these ups and downs.
Yeah.
And
everything's a growth moment too. Like, it's not that, like, it's not necessarily one thing that propels you to anything else. And I would not call myself. It depends on what you're looking at if you talk about like success or things like that. Like, for me, I have a community that is really active, that help each other out with activities, that hang out with me, and I'm able to hang out with them when I can. Like, when I can. I only basically get to game when I'm streaming. But it's a very inclusive group, and it's a very helpful group. And to me, that's success. Now, if like success is like being a partnered streamer, I guess I'm not. But over anytime you're trying to build something, or you're trying to grow either personally or on a career path, you have there's all these little things that kind of build up to it, and it's a matter of recognizing that journey and realizing what works and what doesn't. That, I think, helps.
No, you're right. Because a lot of people kind of, when just trying to acquire or achieve something, as far as at least success, some people just kind of want it now. And
there's follow groups on Twitter everywhere that it's like, follow me on Twitch and I'll follow you. And like, that's not how you build community or anything really successful. You're building hollow relationships, and it's not really a good time.
And no, you're right. And that's actually the best way to say it, this hollow feeling, because then it's, at that point, it's just going to be you and an empty space with just numbers. And that's nothing. When
you're viewing people as a currency. And that's not what people are.
Hey, if you're top business, man, all people are numbers to you.
Ugh, freaking gross.
Hey. Sadly, I know people like that.
Yeah, I do too. And
it's a harsh reality.
It works for some of them. It works for some of them, and like, I don't know. I've just always viewed it as like, I viewed this as trying to make friends. However, like in my past, and playing in bands and stuff, I could say that I was probably that hollow personality. Like in my 20s, I wasn't. There's like a joke that Chris Rock has in his last special where he's like, I don't need no new friends, and that's kind of how I felt, because I was living with my friends and like going on tour with my friends, and we would make friendships with people out on the road and stuff, and some of them became really good good pals down the line, but others it was just like, okay, yeah, well, we'll trade shows in Louisville, cool. So like, if you can get us on a bill in Louisville, we'll get you on a bill here in Indianapolis. And it just kind of like, it was kind of apparent, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So like, I don't know. It's something that I try to be mindful of, because I know that I've done that in the past, and that's why I'm so ready to see it in others. So I don't know. It's just
no, you have it, because you've been in that headspace, so you understand when someone's like that, so it works. Like it's that notion of being in someone's shoes. Like so So you've been in there, and so you'll start to see it in other people if they are the way they
Yeah.
are. But no, yeah. So I want to actually talk to you a little bit about your band, because you've been actually more recently you've been on stream. You've been playing your guitar, and it's been very enjoyable. Listen, you've
thanks.
actually, yeah. So you said this was in your early 20s, right?
Yeah, I was so my late teens and early 20s. I was in like a handful of bands here and there, and for the longest time I was in the band Bonesetters. We made that like 10 years, I think. And it was a fun band to be in. Like we got to tour around a little bit. We were able to release like 2 albums that I'll stand behind.
Hey, that's that's
yeah.
2 more than a lot of people can say.
Yeah, a lot of it is just making it out the door. Like you can have the best album of all time and not share it, and people will never know. So it's not like we had the greatest album of all time, but like we wrote music that I stood behind then. I kind of wavered on it for a little while there after the breakup, and then like I'm back around to like, no, that was a damn good song. That was all right. The one that's 7 minutes we probably could have done without, but you know, the 3-minute ones are pretty good.
All right. So for you, what got you like started that wanted you to like be part of a band, or your like beginnings of like I wanted to do something like that?
So when I was growing up, I was always like I always wanted to be. I was always the artsy kid in my family. I'm like one of five kids.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
So I'm a middle child, so that's why I apologize a lot. I would draw all the time, and I wanted to go to school for comics and stuff. Didn't pan out, but my mom got me a guitar, I think, for my 16th birthday. I took lessons for a couple of years from different shops around town, and like I then was like, no, I'm done. I'm just going to teach myself. When I went to art school for like a year and some change between a couple different ones, and during that time, I was making friends who were in bands, like up in Muncie, Indiana, and so I dropped out of school and went to and moved up there. Now, Muncie, Indiana, that's where Ball State University is. And so a lot of people, when you're that age, they're like, oh, what are you studying? And you say, nothing. People look at you kind of weird. And so, but yeah, I literally just moved up there to hang out in bands, hang out and play in bands and stuff. And yeah, I don't like that. It was just like a close. Some of the folks that I've written music with are some of my closest friends, and I think it's because like you kind of share like a telepathy after a while. You can kind of tell when somebody's going to be like making certain moves. When you're that close together. But I don't. It's for me, being in a band, being in that kind of tight knit community has always been what I've gone for. It's usually like I'll stick with the people that stick with me, and that's what we've done. That's what we did, at least.
All right, cool. So it sounds like you were, for the most part, you've been pursuing different things that a lot of people should really take to mind, like trying to find just these small bits of happiness in the works they create.
Yeah.
So, and that's what you did. There were like you said, like you were, as far as the guitar, learning the guitar, you you tried the learning from people, which for most people help, but sometimes there's instructions don't always pan out. And
I mean, they were good guys. It's not like they were doing anything wrong. It's just like, in my mind, playing guitar was different than what they espoused. Like, one dude, the first guy that I got, he, instead of teaching me like chords, he taught me tablature. So, cool. I know how to play Rage Against the Machine now. Like, I know how to play Bulls on Parade, but I don't know the core ethics of guitars, of playing guitar. And so he got fired after a while from that guitar store. And the owner came in and he's like, "All right, so where are you on your studies?" I was like, "Dude, this is what I'm studying." And I showed him the tablet. He goes, "Holy shit, that guy's, he didn't teach you any chords?" So I stuck around there for a little bit, and then and stopped that shop. My dad had a when I was younger, my dad and I didn't get along very very well, and he always had a way of kind of like taking my hobby and then turning it against me.
So, I understand that feeling.
Yeah, so like we went to the shop from a guy that he knew, and the guy who was teaching me was like, he was in his 70s, nothing against that. He was a rockabilly guy, nothing against that either. But it was very clear that like he was trying to teach me like country stuff. And I was like, I want to learn chords. I want to learn how to play guitar. I don't want to learn like genre, because I can do that on my own. And I eventually did. I eventually like stopped going to lessons and just picking up chords here and there. I sucked at guitar. I still suck at guitar, but like you kind of find like a styling and stuff that works for you. So that's how that went.
Hey, you got a good couple years in your belt as far as band, so that's not bad if for a little playing being bad at guitar. So
yeah, I mean, you can be bad at guitar in a band for a long time. This is how it works.
I wish I knew that, but it sounds like for the most part you put a lot of hard work and passion into a lot of the things that we've done over the last couple of years. So
yeah, my life has been I chase I tend to chase enjoying myself over financial gain, and I don't know, like that's just who I am as a person, and it's more about fulfillment for me than anything else. Like if I can feel good about what I'm making, about what I'm doing, then I'm set. I don't ask for too much else outside of that.
And that's sometimes what people should strive for, instead of pushing for too much, then being let down. And we're like at this, like right now, a lot of people, not at least not, because we're about around the same age, but some of the younger generations are just like I have a couple of cousins in their at this moment they're probably in their mid to late teens, and they're trying for too much, which like at
like how do you mean?
So I would so expectations. Let's go with that. Expectations.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Let's go with let's use that word. That's the word I want to use. Expectations. There's a moment when you have that realization, like there it's not too bad to have high expectations, but you should have some realism to them, I would say.
Yeah. You should definitely set like a ground, like a sure footing. I'm sorry, I'm burping and stuff. I just ate White Castle. But it's about getting a sure footing underneath yourself before you start trying to run. Because you can stumble a lot. And
you will in this game of life. So
life. Sorry.
You're good. But when it comes to like not only like this online space, because I honestly have, let's see here, I have 2 nieces and they told me yesterday. As far as this recording, yesterday, 2 nieces and 1 nephew that are working to strive to, be an online creator or content.
Okay.
Creator. Yeah.
Okay.
And
cool.
Cool. Like, for the most part, I'll support them, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
But there's that mentality of like, I think it was more prevalent a couple years ago when the boom was happening, when it was a lot easier to get found, and I think so. At the moment, I'm trying to let them know, like, you got to put in the work, and but also you don't want it to make it also feel like work at the same time. You want to be enjoying what you're doing.
I think it's fine for it to feel like work sometimes. There have been times where I've been editing like either SideQuest Sunday or Planet Destiny, and being like, holy shit, okay, so like, I don't know how you edit, but how I normally edit, it's usually like track by track. Lately on SideQuest Sunday, I've been recording everything through OBS and stripping the audio out of the video. But with Planet Destiny, it's almost like a necessity to kind of get everybody to record themselves locally. And then I have like a quick rinse that I run everybody through. That usually takes like 45 minutes to an hour to do that for each individual track. I then have to stack all that up. And then listen back through it, take out any like Nim has dogs, and I'm sure they're beautiful. They sound beautiful, but they sometimes bark in the background. So I sometimes have to take that out. I have to take out keyboard strokes for when somebody's replying to somebody in chat. And so that can take a while. And so this past week we had episode 200 where there were 6 tracks. I had to do quick rinses on everybody. I then panned everybody around so I could hear who was typing, so I could edit it quicker. And it still took me like 5 hours to do.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's fine for it to feel like work sometimes, And you have to know what you're getting into, and you kind of have to hone down your practice, your practices, and that's part of it. If you go through making stuff and it feels easy, you're going to get dissatisfied pretty quickly.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Then I think to correct myself, I would say spiteful work, when you just hate going to work.
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah. Don't do that.
Like, I already do that with my real job.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that with when I'm working on my project.
My real job too, and it sucks so bad.
I know, right? We need a roof over our head and food in our bellies.
No kidding.
But at least we get to, for the most part, on the side, we get to enjoy doing what we do. So
exactly.
If that's the cost, God, I wish it was easier.
It can be. I think we're all working on it.
Little by little. I mean? Yep, little by little. So tell us a little bit more about Dan.
What do you want to know? Like, Do you want to know? So, I don't know. I grew up in Indiana, on a sheep farm for like 18 years. I was a 10-year 4-H member. For your listeners, you know what that is.
They don't. They'll Google it.
Yeah, they'll probably get it. It just means that like my parents signed me up for 10 years to like show sheep, and I did that. I did that the entire time.
Okay, wait, what?
Yeah, yeah.
Show sheeps?
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture.
Yeah.
All I see is when I heard that, all I saw was a little boy in overalls with a sheep next to them.
Kind of.
Oh,
You're not far. You're not far.
Okay.
So it's when you So growing up, we had probably like anywhere between 70 and 100 head of sheep at any given time, and so you just kind of took care of them, right? You shoveled the shit when you had to. You wormed them when you had to. That's like you'd have to kind of hold them, and then like give them immunization and things along those lines. We had Suffolk sheep, so they're kind of like your classic like black face, white body sheep.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
I have an image in my head.
Yeah. And so there's when you go into 4-H and stuff, it is partially about breeding. Like you're trying to like breed a good stock, and through that you can have healthier sheep down the line. And so my part of that is showing sheep. And so as a kid, it sounds dumb as shit. You go out into the county fair or the state fairground, wherever you go. And we would bring 2 sheep, generally 2 to 3. It got down to the point where I was like, okay, I'm just going to bring 1, because like when I was older, I didn't like it, but at least it was manageable. And so you kind of have to keep your hand under their chin and your hand on the back of their neck, and you lead them around a ring. You're not strangling them, mind you. You're just like gently guiding them along. And if you trained with them, they're not as resistant as if you haven't worked with one for like a few months before the show. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to show off the best. You're trying to show off the breed to the best of your ability.
Okay. All right. I'm starting to understand it.
Yeah. And so like usually you're in a class of like 7 or 8 people. You're leading them around a ring in front of a judge. The judge comes up and he like checks to see like he pokes on their sides and like just kind of does some measurements in his head. There are people who go to school for this kind of thing. And like yeah, so you do that, and at the end of it, if you have like a ewe, which we would usually take 1 or 2 ewes a person and show them. And then you have wethers, which are sheep that have been I'm just gonna say had their balls cut off. Basically, they just had their balls cut off. So like you would show that one, and those are generally the ones that would go for food. You would sell them to stock at the end, get some money for college, and that like they would go off to a meat packing plant somewhere.
Okay. So for the most part, I got that because during high school, for I'm going to say a very, very short time, I was part of the FFA.
Yeah.
So I actually took a field trip to a fair that were doing that, so that makes more sense. I knew what they were doing, but I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm gonna drop a link in the chat to show you. There you go. That's basically what it was.
That's what I watched. Yep.
100%.
Also, that's what I'm picturing. Also, for anyone who's really trying to think hard, is also that moment in Charlotte's Web when then they have Wilbur at the county fair.
Yeah. Except with sheep, you show with sheep you show them a little bit more structured than a pig. Pigs, you can't really get down on the ground and wrestle around with them. If you do get on the ground, it's generally just you're wrestling a pig. So,
which isn't bad either.
Yeah,
those things are.
I mean,
I've been knocked out by one.
I'm not here to kink shame anybody. But yeah.
I got that. I just got that. Oh, all right. We have fun. All right.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, that's good. Oh, been a while. Don't worry. That.
Did that hit you between the ribs somewhere, or what?
No, like at least a few months ago. Different guest, different game. With female partners. That joke was made.
I gotcha.
So memories. So yeah.
All alone in the moonlight. Oh, sorry. All right.
But it seems like you had a very interesting childhood.
Yeah.
For as well, raising sheep. I have an uncle when we came up, because when we came to visit every once in a while up in Washington, he owns a farm, and we would stay with him for a week. And you had this longer than I did, but for me, it was a week of me taking care of animals, and you had it for 10 years plus your life, basically.
Yeah.
So,
pretty much my entire life.
So I can imagine it, but I don't want to. But
it's not that bad.
No.
It's like I made it out okay.
Your tone of voice says different, but
I mean, you know, so it goes.
No, yeah, no, everything different, but no, yeah. But I do understand the work people put in, and it's interesting too, because like I grew up in Chicago, so visiting my uncle was the few times I got to be at a farm, like an actual farm. So so I got to not only enjoy the wonderful fresh air. Yeah. And
so you smelled a lot of shit. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And my uncle's a very like hearty, like don't give a shit kind of guy. So you woke up. He woke you up at 4 a.m. And and as
every Saturday, dude. Every Saturday, I live this life.
So yeah. You get it. So anyone listening, it's yeah. So if
look,
anyone
I still kind of get up early. Generally, I usually stay up late and then get up super early. So usually I'll stay up till 1, end up waking up at like 6:30. It's fine. Like it's how you kind of train your body sometimes, you know? And especially, I think that might be where I get my work ethic, is just like having done that so much, trying to make sure that you're doing a good job and you're making good work while pleasing someone. I guess because like my dad was a strict farm man, and if you didn't do something right, you did it again. So you're quick not to want to do it again.
I feel you there.
Yeah.
So, but for the most part, it does instill some. What's the best way to put it? What's the word? Come on, words. It puts that sense of work in you.
Yeah. Work ethic. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. So, We've been going for a good amount of time. So,
Yeah.
so there's usually a few questions that I've been recently asking. Uh, um, so my first question, this
Mm-hmm.
most random one, if you could
Okay.
have a useless superpower, what would it be?
Let's see. Like useless as in it has no use whatsoever for anyone involved, including myself. It wouldn't even be beneficial to myself.
Mm, so the best. Okay, so the best way I can. I'll give you an example. The
Okay.
guest that inspired this was his superpower would be to know exactly when the mail would arrive.
Okay.
So that's all he would know. He has this mental click in his head, mail's here, things like that. So
Hmm.
it's pretty useless, but you know when the mail's home.
Yeah.
So something very, very mundane. That's pretty much.
Um. I would have. I would be able to tell. I would be able to tell how sweaty your feet are just by looking at them, but I wouldn't have the verbiage to communicate it.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. Like I could in my mind I'd be like there's like those feet stink scientifically this much. I'd be able to tell you the scientific quotient for like the smell of those feet. But if I were to try to warn you about them or tell you a little bit, it would come out as bang, 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 bang.
um, a racetrack would suck for you.
It would. It would. Any public place, generally.
Oh yeah, the mall, anything. Oh
Yeah.
god, never mind that.
Libraries. Famously, people do not wash in libraries. Just letting you know. Famously.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. Well, I'm actually trying to think. When was the last time I went to my local library?
Probably on a day that you didn't wash. Generally. Generally, that's what people do. They don't take showers. They come into the library. They don't read signs. They're just like, "What time do you close today?" It says on the door. Yeah, but when do you close?
Interesting. Actually,
Yeah.
not thinking about it because I during high school for the most part I was a very active goer to my local library. Uh, because that's weird. Because I'm thinking now I don't know when or why I stopped going to the
Yeah.
library. But I do remember I have because there was this one person that would always be there, like, and he did have this strong aroma about him. That makes
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah.
Interesting. Gross, but interesting.
Yes. So I work at a library. Full disclosure. And so I've got some stories. And some of my favorites include like the person who stripped off their pants and left it behind a copier at work. That was
What?
weird. Yep. Somebody shit their pants and then left them behind at the copier at work.
Why?
And
Besides shitting your pants.
well, I don't know. I don't know why.
Anyways, okay, continue.
So,
I'm just baffled.
There's that. There's the guy that on the coldest day of the year walked in without a coat and shoes, and I had to refuse him service because I was like, you gotta wear shoes, man. I don't have shoes, and like that broke my heart a little bit because you don't want to ever hear that somebody doesn't have something like as like a staple as shoes, you know. And I was like, man, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. Like, but you can't be in here and you can't check anything out if you're like, it's like no shirt, shoes, no service, man. I'm sorry. So he leaves and he comes back and he was lying to me about the shoes the entire time. So
okay,
yeah.
Sure.
All
All right. Okay, interesting. So So you have briefly mentioned it. Like, so what got you in the library service?
Pure laziness. I have only stayed there because it is my only applicable job skill is customer service. And it is... I need to get out of it, man. I need to get out of it. It's like, it was fun for a while, and then it was just like, oh, I could see myself doing this forever. And now I am to the point where it's like, I never want to do this again. I love helping people, but this is just not the format that I can do it in anymore.
All right. So for the most part, I have the mentality of like leaving the current workforce for something a little bit better. For me, the only reason I can't leave is I can't find a work that would be willing to pay the same that I do. That's basically a trap I set myself at the moment.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, like, you get yourself situated for the most part, and then it's just hard to find stuff. For me at least, like I'm not like I'm blacklisted. I don't like that's the worst way to say it, but
okay.
Okay, I know. Okay, I know that sounds.
No, sketchy. Go on. I want to hear more about this.
All right. Like I've said it multiple times on the show, but
okay.
For the most part, like the degrees I've earned in the last few years, it was through ITT, the school that closed down.
Yeah.
So when I apply for jobs in that field, when they see that on my resume, it's kind of like a red flag. Like even though that's it was a prominent school for the most part, and I learned the skills I did, but it's just this weird red flag that pops up now. So it's really hard to get a decent job, and it's really frustrating. Like it's been frustrating the last couple of years when I'm trying to get out of the job I'm currently in.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
No, I gotcha. I hear you.
So, like, we're people enjoying doing our hobbies and projects, but hate the jobs that are making us survive.
Oh yeah, and that's like, and that's part of the dream, right? Is like that you can do enough so that you can kind of quit your day job, right? Like that's the dream.
I'm hoping so. I don't want to make it a dream. I want it to be a reality.
Yeah, I understand. But making it that way though is incredibly tough. So you just have to make sure that you have the foundation to run with it, man.
Thank you. So, like, we're all putting ourselves out there. So
yeah,
hopefully we'll do something that we ourselves feel we did something good with it, and then someone out there enjoys what we put out there.
Absolutely, 100%.
And at the end of the day, that's all we hope for.
Yeah.
So now that we're towards the end of the show, I'm gonna have a few words from my friends here.
This podcast brought to you by OuchThatHurts.com. Visit Ouch That Hurts for music, gaming, reviews, editorials, podcasts, and more. Ouch That Hurts. HERTZ.com.
Okay, so at the end of the show, I usually ask my guests to regale us with a tale of the weirdest, strangest, most convoluted thing that has ever happened, you have ever encountered, or you've ever done.
All right, so when you asked me about this, like when I watched the video for this interview, I was trying to think of this, and it's the weirdest thing I've ever done. I streaked in a church once. But nobody was in it. It was a dare from a couple of kids that I was in Bible school with. So it's not fair to say that nobody was there. It was just me and them. I was probably like 11 at the time. It's probably the craziest thing I've ever done. Yeah.
That's pretty wild, I'm not gonna lie. And I've heard some tales. Okay.
Yep. That was it. Good for me. It doesn't usually get any weirder than that.
The guy shitting his pants was nothing. But yeah, no.
I mean, I've done that too. But
no, but no. Wow. Like, what? How'd you get put in that situation?
we were just playing Truth or Dare.
And streaking in church is wow.
That was brought up, and like it was made to seem that I would wuss out of it. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. And did it anyway.
How that moment where you don't want to seem like, well, like at that moment, mostly at that age, we'll do just about anything. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
that put me in multiple situations. Actually, I put other people in that situation because of that.
So it goes, man.
To this day, they still quote me on a lot of the moments. And left them fun for anyone listening. One of my other co-hosts, he actually has a visible scar from one of the moments that I put him in. So, yeah.
I wasn't saying your name. I was just saying Jesus. Just wanted to let you know. But anyways, continue.
No, it's fine. All right. Let's thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's move on to the game show portion of the podcast.
Okay.
So you decided to play Job Hunt. For anyone listening, Job Hunt is basically, I'm going to be putting Dan. He's going to be applying for 2 different jobs. I gave him some specific qualifications he needs to use to get into each job. And you're more than welcome to also use some of your own qualifications to try to achieve one of these jobs. Does that sound good?
Sweet. Sounds good to me.
So
I'm all about it.
So ahead of time, I already told you one of the 2 jobs, and that's what we're going to start up with. So, Dan.
Okay. Hey. Hi. How are you?
Doing good.
Glad I was able to come in today. Traffic out there is bitch.
All right then. So we have a spot in our astronaut program. So what can you provide? Excuse me?
Sorry.
You good?
Sorry. It's I'm just talking to Yuri Glaskov over here. Anyways, stop. I'm in the middle of an interview, Yuri. Okay? Thank you. All right, continue.
All right. So you would like what would make you a great candidate for our astronaut program?
Well, I have some inside information. Okay? I just wanted to, I can learn from the past mistakes that have been made on every space flight that has ever come out of NASA. Okay? I've got inside information. I hear voices in my head all the time. I'm not crazy. But I can hear the ghosts of dead astronauts.
Interesting. Okay,
Yuri!
Continue.
Yuri! This is not the time. Okay, continue.
Alright, okay, what other qualities can you provide?
Look, man. Well, I'm naked like 95% of the time. Yeah. I'm an expert at wine tasting. So, I mean, you guys have like wine up there, right? Up in
Powdered
space.
wine.
Powdered? What?
It's a
No.
new formula we're working on.
Well, I could probably help you, like, nail that down. Because I'm a wine aficionado. I don't know if you knew this, but I've had my fair share of wine before I came here.
All right. Interesting. Do continue.
Yeah, I mean, I know all about reds, rosés. Huge fan of rosé. It's great. It's pretty freaking great.
Okay. So there's a few things we asked for. There's normally
I brought my social security card and my driver's license, as you asked.
Okay, good. So the job, for the most part, when people think astronaut, there's just a lot of rigorous training, but there's also a lot of paperwork that comes with it. Can you?
Okay. Can I what?
What level of
Neil? He's trying to make a point. Go on.
Shit, why can't I think? Broke my character. Anyways, what skills do you provide when working with, basically tons of paperwork?
That I do not do so well on, Chief. I do not do so well on the paperwork front. But don't worry. Even though I can't read, doesn't mean that the ghosts that talk to me, that they can't. So I'll just show them the paperwork. They'll read it to me. Easy peasy. Now, it might scare the shit out of me. I'm just gonna say that. I just want to make sure that that's known. I have terrible night terrors.
Okay.
And I shake violently in the evenings most nights.
Okay. So we're getting an idea of your character.
Yeah.
So, So for the most part, if you do acquire this position, you'll be put into
a capsule and shot into space. I'm totally down with that. I want that.
For monthly missions.
Monthly?
Month-long missions.
Okay, that's cool. I've been taking my calcium recently because I know that when you pee up there, it pisses out your bone strength. I've been working on it.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, month-long missions, easy peasy. Good with it.
All right. So we'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
And, we'll see where we can go with that.
Sweet. I'm good with it. Can't wait.
All right.
When can I expect to hear back?
Probably 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, well, so I've got this thing, in 4 weeks, where, me and a bunch of my dead astronaut buddies, we're gonna go out drinking. It's kind of like a congratulations on getting the job type of deal. So if you could, can you tell me if I'm gonna get it, right now? Tell me right now. Tell me right now. Tell me right now.
I have to talk to the rest of
NASA?
The department heads and see if you're a good fit.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Here in about 4 weeks, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you whether or not I got the job. How about that? Huh?
All right, Dan. I think that's the end of this interview.
Sweet. Cool.
We'll talk to you later.
Neat. Sweet. Bring it.
All right. Ready for the second one?
Sure.
So the second job you're applying for is executioner.
Okay.
Using the same qualities that I provided you, you're gonna have to sell yourself for the executioner position.
Easy.
All right, let's get started.
All right.
So,
Hi.
Dan, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I see you're applying for our executioner position.
Yeah. Let me tell you what. Let me tell you something. All right. I can do this. All right. I'm the best at this. Please let me show you. Please let me show you.
Okay.
Get a guy in here. Get a guy in here. Let me show you. Let me show you.
So, normally we do not do live demonstrations because we want to first get to know our possible future employees.
What's it matter? What's it matter? If you got a job to do, let me do it. Let me do it. Come on, man. Come on. Let me murder a guy in front of you, please. Just come on.
We've had some rogue incidents, so that's why we have this very extensive interview process now. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, Dan.
Okay, my favorite way to murder people is by, like, taking my teeth out and just slashing them across the throat with them.
Okay. May I ask how many?
Like, confirmed?
Yes.
Maybe like 14?
Okay.
Like
I'm
14 confirmed?
I'm guessing you replaced those.
Oh, are you talking about my teeth or deaths?
Either or, from the sound of it.
All of my teeth are fake. All of them.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll take that knowledge at face value. Okay.
Please do.
What other qualifications do you feel you can provide for our organization?
I feel like I can murder people real nice. I've talked to several people that I've murdered, and I just gotta say that they all say that they would recommend that my way of murdering over anybody else's kind of murdering.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's just what I've been told. It's just what I've been told. Have I told you that I'm able to speak to the dead? It's like they haven't even left. It's easy.
Interesting. Does this not would this not affect your workflow?
Oh no, I'm pretty much a sociopath. That and I drink heavily.
Oh, okay.
So, don't worry about me. I'm good, Chief.
Okay. Because when it comes to this type of job,
You just want somebody that gets to murdering right away?
We care about the mental health of our employees after.
Don't worry about me. I'm okay with it. Just point me at a body. I'll get to murdering.
All right. So we're gonna end it here. I'm gonna talk to.
All right. Tell me I got the job. Come on. I'm
gonna talk to the rest of our staff, and you'll be hearing from us in the next couple days.
Okay. Also, Tyra says hello. Just thought I'd let you know that. Tyra says hello.
Interesting. I'm gonna talk to. I'm gonna talk to.
You remember your
ex-wife.
You remember your ex-wife.
Okay. Interesting. All right. We'll get back to you on that then.
All right.
And that's the end of that one.
How'd I do? Did I do all right?
It was interesting, to say the least.
All right.
So
So I'm getting hired, right?
For one of them, probably.
Okay.
One more than the other.
Okay.
We all know which
Sweet.
one. We'll let the audience decide which
The
one.
astronaut job. Sweet.
So, that's all what we want.
Gotcha.
All right. Hope you hope you had a little fun with that one.
Yeah, I had fun. It was a good time, man. Thank you so much for coming in, for letting me be a part of this, for thinking of me.
So at this point of the show, this is where I let my guests, let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitch almost every day, twitch.tv/Danfinity. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Danflannelty, DANFLNLTY. That's where you can find me. Sorry, I have to say Danflannelty because it's funnier that way. You can also find me on every Sunday in your podcast feed of choice. Also on Sunday evenings at 5:30 Eastern, or at 5 Eastern on my channel.
All right, and I'll have all the links down below in the description. Go ahead and check him out. Like, honestly, he's a very entertaining person to not only watch, but to listen.
Thanks, bud.
You're welcome. So go ahead and check him out, guys. But once again, everyone, thanks again for listening. Dan, thank you for taking the time for joining me today. So everyone, until next time, see ya.
Looking for a podcast to listen to? Look up Geek Dig Pod. They've got comics, movies, music, video games, tech, or whatever your geeky little heart desires. Look them up at geekdigpod.com, on Instagram or Twitter at geekdigpod, on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, the Satchel Player, or Player FM. The Geek Dig podcast is part of the Tangent Bound, BS Podcast Network, and the We Be Geeks Network.
Hey everybody, my name is Grant, and I host a podcast called It's Trivial. Now, It's Trivial is a game show in which I pit comedians, musicians, podcasters, and other interesting people against one another, usually in front of a live audience for the sake of public ridicule. Hope you'll check it out. There's something there for everybody. There's stuff for people who like movies, music, history, geography, comic books, and even more. Be sure to give me a follow here on social media on Instagram and Twitter at It's Trivial Show, and check out the entire first season of It's Trivial now in your favorite podcast app. Thanks.